In this video, let us learn the basics that are related to data interpretation part and what are the calculation tricks that are needed in order for you to solve the problems of data interpretation very quickly. So coming to the areas that we need to master in order to be excellent in data interpretation part are: 1. You have to be excellent in percentages. You have to understand how to take the ratios quickly, and you have to understand the basics of averages. If you are good at these three areas, then solving the problems from data interpretation part will never be difficult. Please remember, without you being good at that first thing, that is percentages part, data interpretation you can never master. And when you go for advanced exams like SBI, PO or any other exams which are of high level data interpretation part like management entrance exams like CAT, MAT and other exams, data interpretation plays a major role because that can give you the marks which are needed for selection, or that may be an area which can become a nightmare for you, which will eliminate you from the competition. So let us understand the tricks that are needed from percentages first. So without mastering these tricks, better don't go for data interpretation puzzles directly. So we will be focusing on as many examples as possible to make you master in this calculation tricks. Right? Let me start with percentages calculation tricks. First, say suppose when we are finding some percentage of a number, so say suppose I want this 30% of the number. In general, what do we do? 30% is nothing but 30 by 100 into 1400. This is what generally people do. This is correct, no doubt about that. As long as you are having zeros here, you can cancel it and you can get the answer, that is nothing but 420. But we don't recommend you to go for this method when we are not having zeros over here. In such a case, what exactly do we do? That's what you have to understand. Say for example, your requirement is to find, say, some 39% of say some 1489, let us say. So here, going by this technique will not give you the answer quickly. The reason being, this number is not getting cancelled with 100. So in such a case, it becomes difficult for you to handle the calculation. Then how can we solve it without I putting 100 at the denominator? Sir, is there any better technique? Definitely yes, there is. I will show you that. So let me go for one more example. Say suppose here also 99% of 1680 you want. So if you want 99% of 1680, I can simply say it as, if you go by this method, what is the difficulty? Let's understand. You may be doing it like this, 99 by 100 into 1680. This is the general method that people do. So here 0 0 they cancel, then the difficulties will begin. 2 5s are 284 times. Now 84 doesn't go with 5. So it is difficult for you to multiply 99 with 84, then dividing it with 5 will be difficult task. Then what is the best approach, sir? So strategically this is not recommended. The best approach would be, you can simply think of that 99% as 100% minus 1%. For you to solve the problem by this method, first you have to understand as to how to take that 100% and how to get that 1% straight away. For that I will be showing you some tricks first, then I will take you to advanced calculations. So 100% of the number is nothing but number itself. Why? I will show you, don't worry about that. Minus 1% of the number is nothing but 1 by 100th part of it, that is nothing but 16.80. From 1680, if you can remove 16.80, that will give you the answer. Subtracting 16.80 from 1680 is far easier than multiplying 99 with 84, then dividing it with 5. So in order for you to think like this, what are the basic things that are needed? Let us see one more example, then I will take you to that calculation tricks. Here also 95%, now you can treat it as what? 100% minus 5%. So if you can directly get 100% of the number is nothing but number itself, if you can directly get what is 5% of the number, you can easily solve it without going for 95 by 100 and all. So for you to do that, what are the basics that are needed? I am going to show you with a simple table here. I am taking a number which is 2400. I am taking a number which is 2400 and I am going to take different percentages of that number. So please remember, 100% of a number is nothing but number itself. So 100% of 2400 is nothing but the number itself. That's why it will be 2400 only. Now if you want 50% of the number, 50% of the number is nothing but 50 by 100 into number. 50 by 100 is nothing but 1 by 2. So 50% of the number is nothing but half of the number. So if you observe some property here, when you are taking percentage on the same number, if the percentage figure is half of this, actual figure will also be half of this. Horizontally, if this is 24 times of this, this will also be 24 times of that. Please remember this property. This is very powerful and very useful. Coming to 25%. Now I can utilize the same property. 25% means this is half of this. Take half of this one. That will give you how much, dear? 600. 12.5%. This is half of this. Take half of this. Hence it will be how much? 300. 300. Sir, how will this table help me in getting the answer? Sir, say suppose your requirement is to get 125% of a number, let us say. So you want 125% of, say, some 68. You can simply call it as what? 100% plus 25%. So 100% of the number is nothing but number itself, I said. That's why it is 68. 25% of the number, how can I get? From 100% you get 50% by taking half. From 50% you take half, it will give you 25%. So 100% of 68 is 68. 50% of that will be what? 34. 25% will be 17. So if you can take half of 50%, that will give you 25%. Together it is giving you how much? 85. Like that we can easily manage the show. That is how you should think while solving the problems in competitive examinations. Keep this in mind. Let us go further. If I want 10% of the number, 10% of the number is nothing but 10 by 100 into number. 10 by 100 is nothing but 1 by 10th. 1 by 10th. 1 by 10th of 2400 is nothing but how much? 240. So if I want 20% of the number, 20% is double of 10%. So double of this you take. That will give you how much? So 10% is 240 here. 20% means double. Double of this will be how much? 480. 480. 30% is nothing but triple of this. That's why it will be how much? 720. 40% is nothing but 4 times of that. Hence it will become how much? 960. Coming to 10%. As we have already found, 10% is 240. Now if I want 5%, 5% means half of this. So take half of that. Hence it will give you how much? 120. 2.5% means half of that. Hence it will be 60. 1.25% is nothing but half of that. Hence it will be 30. Further, if you want 1%, 1% of the number is nothing but 1 by 100 of that number. 1 by 100 of that number. So 1 by 100 of that number is nothing but what? 24. 2% will be double of that. Hence it will be 48. 3% will be triple of that. Hence it will be 72. 4% will be 4 times of that. Hence it will be 96. If you can manage these things, managing calculation of percentages is never a big deal. How can we utilize this table in doing the calculations? Let us understand in the next slides. Let us go ahead with the calculations now. Starting off with the first example. I need 110% of a certain number. So what is 110% of 2750? So this 110% you can feel it as 100% plus 10%. As we have just now learnt, 100% of the number is nothing but the number itself. So that is 2750 plus 10% is nothing but 1/10 of that. That's why 275. For 2750 you add 275. While adding also use some tricks like this. For 2750 you add 250. so that it will become a round figure. For 2750 you add 250, that will become 3000. How much more you should add? 25 more, hence it will become how much dear? 3025. Next, 51% of 1600. How can we treat this 51%? 51% is nothing but 50% plus 1%. 50% of the number is nothing but half, that is 800. Plus 1% is nothing but 1 by 100th of it. 1 by 100th of 1600 is nothing but 16. So 800 plus 16 will give you how much dear? 816. Hence 51% of that number is 816. Next, what is 62% of 1400? 62% you can treat it as 50%. Directly don't write 60%, because to get 60% you have to take 6 times of 10%. That may become difficult for you sometimes. To avoid that, we will write like this: 50 plus 10 plus 2. I am converting multiplications into additions here. Understand that basic logic. So 50% of the number is nothing but 700. 10% of that number is nothing but 140. 10% is 140. 2%, 1% is 14, 2% is 28. 700 plus 140, 840. 840 plus 28 will give you how much? 868. Next, 11.25% of 1280. 11.25% of 1280. So that 11.25% I can treat it as 10% plus 1.25%. Sir, how can I get 1.25%? I have already given you the table. Observe the table now. If you want any of these percentages below, you should start thinking from there. If you want 5% or 2.5 or 1.25, your way of thinking should start from 10. That's what I mean by. So anything below that can be calculated based on that. From that you can take half, that will give you 5. Half of that will give you 2.5. Half of that will give you 1.25. Like that we have to manage. Chalo dear. Now, so 10% of this number is nothing but 128. So once you get 10%, from that you can get 5%. So 10% is 128, and just writing and showing for your clarity here. 5% is 64. 2.5% is 32. So 1.25% is nothing but half of this. That will give you 16. So what exactly I did here? Every time I took half. Is that clear? Chalo. So add 16 to that. So 128 plus 16 should give you how much dear? 144. See, once you understand this technique, you don't even need to put pen on the paper to get the answer for that. Please remember this. Is that clear? Chalo, let's go ahead with the next one. 57.5% of 2480. How can I treat this as? Sir, I can treat this as 50% plus. Directly 7.5% I don't know. I can treat that as 5% plus 2.5%. Or otherwise, I can also treat this as 50% plus 10%. I am reaching 60%. Remove 2.5% from that. Will give you the answer. So 50% of that number is nothing but 1240 plus 5%. 10% of that number is nothing but 248. 5% is nothing but 124 plus 2.5% is half of this. That's why I can take half of 124, which is 62. Or otherwise, if you go like this, so 50% is 1240 plus 10%. 10% of 2480 means 1 by 10th of it. So 10% of the 2480 is 248 minus 2.5% I want. So 10% is 248. 5% will be half of that, 124. 2.5% will be how much? I repeat, 10% is 248, 5% will be 124, 2.5% will be 62. So remove 62. In either ways you can think. I recommend you to go for this because doing addition is more easier than doing subtraction, right? I'm not saying this is impossible, that also can be done, but addition I prefer, right dear? So 1240 plus 124 will give you 1364, 1364 plus 62, 1364 plus 62 will give you how much? 1426. Similarly, 1240 plus 248, 1240 plus 248 will give me 1488, 1488 minus 62 will give me how much? 1426. In either ways you can think, it's up to you. Is that clear? Chalo, let's move on. What is 198% of 1650? So I can simply treat that 198% as 200% minus 2%. 200% of a number is nothing but double of 100%. 100% of the number is nothing but number itself. 200% will be double of that, which will give you 3300 minus 2%. How can I get 2%? When you divide this with 100, this will come. When you divide this with 100, this will come. You divide this with 100, this will come. So if you are dividing this with 100, that will give you how much dear? 33. If you don't like the idea, go for 1%. 1% of this is nothing but 1 by 100th, that is 16.50. 2% will be double of that. Double of 16.5 is what? 33. That way you can manage. So 3300 minus 33 should give you how much? 3267. 3267. While subtracting also you think like this. From 3300 you remove 30. From 3300 if you remove 30, that will give you 3270. From that you remove 3, that will give you 3267. Is that clear? Please make a note of it. Next, till now we have understood the plain figures over here, 198%, 150%, 105% like that. Sometimes you may come across fractions like what is 33.33%. Then doing by this method may difficult again. In such a case, we have to remember some major fractions that were being asked in different competitive examinations. I am listing out those fractions along with their properties which you have to mandatorily master, right? Let me go ahead with fraction to percentage table. So 1 is 100%, which means if you want to find 100% of a number, you can directly take 1 time of that. Similarly, if you want 50% of the number, you can simply say that is half of the number. Sir, how am I getting that, sir? 50% if you divide, 50% if you convert it into fraction, divide that 50 with 100. 50 by 100 is nothing but what? 1 by 2. That's why 50% of a number is nothing but half of the number. Similarly, if you want to find 33 1 by 3% of a number, that is nothing but 1/3 of the number. Say for example, you have one situation like this. You want to find 33 1 by 3% of 261, let us say. So 33 1 by 3% means generally people will do like what? 33 1 by 3 by 100 into that. That will be time taking. So if you can remember the equivalent fraction of this, 33 1 by 3% of a number is nothing but 1/3 of the number. If you can remember this, you can easily answer it. So 1/3 of 261, that will give you how much dear? 87. That easy it will become, provided you know the equivalent fraction of that percent. Sir, where else this can be useful for me? Sometimes you may be having some calculation like this. You may be having 24 by 72 into 100. Let us say you have to convert this fraction into percentage now. So to convert this into percentage, don't touch 100. You simply cancel this. This will become how much dear? 1 by 3 into 100. So 1 by 3 fraction, 1 by 3 fraction, 1 by 3 fraction, when converted into percentage, that will be 33 1 by 3%. So if you come across this 1 by 3, straight away into 100 is there. You need not cancel it. You can directly say that 1 by 3 when converted to percentage, that will become how much? 33 1 by 3%. Like this, it will be useful for us in both the ways. Like this you can use, or like this also you can utilize that fraction to percentage concept. Now if I take 2 by 3, 2 by 3 is nothing but double of this. Double of 1 by 3 is 2 by 3 na? If you are doubling this, double this also. That's why it is 66 2 by 3. Doubled 33 is 66. Doubled 1 by 3 2 by 3, or 66.66%. In some books you may find it as 66.67%. It doesn't matter, both mean same only. Next, 1 by 4 is nothing but 25%. 1/4 is nothing but 25%. Similarly, 3/4. 3/4, 2 by 4 I don't need, because 2 by 4 is nothing but 1 by 2, which is 50%, which we have already learnt. 3 by 4 is nothing but 3 times of that, hence that will become how much? 75%. Next, 1 by 5 is 20%. 2 by 5 if I take double of that, it will become how much? 40%. 3 by 5 means triple of that, it will be 60%. 4 by 5 means 80%. Now going ahead with 1 by 6, this is important again. 1 by 6 is nothing but 16 2 by 3% or 16.66%. 2 by 6 I don't need, because 2 by 6 is nothing but 1 by 3. 3 by 6 I don't need, because that is 1 by 2. 1 by 2 is nothing but 50%. 4 by 6 is nothing but 2 by 3, that I already have learnt, that is 66 2 by 3%. So I am not by hearting 4 by 6. But 5 by 6 I need. This is where you have to be careful. 5 by 6 is nothing but 5 times of 1 by 6 na? 5 by 6 is nothing but 5 times of 1 by 6, which means 5 into 1 by 6 is nothing but what percent we learned? 16 2 by 3%. So 5 times of that you have to take. 5 times of 16 you take, that will give you 80. 5 times of 2 is 10. 80 10 by 3%. Please remember, in a mixed fraction, the numerator should never be more than denominator. If it becomes more than the denominator, divide it further. It goes how many times with 3? 3 3s are 9. That 3 you put it this side, that will become how much? 83. So I repeat, 3 3s are 9, remainder is 1. So 83 1 by 3%. Like this you have to learn, right? So if you know 1 by 6, 5 by 6 you can easily manage. Now one more thing dear, if you know that 1 by 6 is nothing but 16.66%, there is another thing that you can manage here. 1 by 16.66 will be equal to 6%. Please remember this property, this is very useful. Especially in bank PO exams, this type of numbers will come. So 1 by 6 into 100 is nothing but 16.66%. Actually into 100 is there, I am not writing. So 1 by 6 into 100. So 1 by 6 is nothing but 16.66%. If I send this one here, this one will come here. So 1 by 16.66 will be equal to how much percent? 6%. Is that clear? Sometimes in the exams you may come across something like this dear. 3 by 16.66 into 100 is what you need to find. Let us say in one calculation. How you can manage that? We know that 1 by 6 is nothing but 16.66%. 1 by 6 is nothing but 16.66%. So 1 by 16.66 is nothing but how much percent we learnt? 1 by 16.66 is nothing but 6%. So 3 by 16.66 means this is 3 times of this na? So 3 times of this means percentage wise also it will be 3 times, hence it will become how much percent? 18%. Like that you can straight away write the answer. If you don't know that, people tend to cancel this one with this one, that will take some time. I don't want you to waste that precious time in the competitive examinations. That's why if you are learning one fraction, indirectly you are learning two fractions. Remember that. If you know that 1 by 4 is 25%, then I can say that 1 by 25 is nothing but how much percent? 4%. Like that you have to learn in both the ways to attack the problems in the competitive examinations. Let's go ahead with the next fraction. This is 1 by 7. 1 by 7 is 14th table with double of the fraction on the other side. If it is 1 by 7 here, you will find 2 by 7. So 1 by 7 is 14 2 by 7% or 14.28%. 2 by 7 will be double of that. Double of 14 is 28. Double of 2 by 7 is 4 by 7. So 28 4 by 7 are 28.56. One more thing that you can observe over here is in decimals, after 14 the double of this will come after decimal. 14 28. Here 28 56, like that. 3 by 7. 3 by 7 is nothing but 3 times of that. 3 times of 14 is 42. 3 times of 2 by 7 is 6 by 7. So 42 6 by 7 are 42.84. But when I come to 4 by 7, 4 times of this I will take. 4 times of 14 will give me 56. 4 times of 14 will give me 56. 4 times of 2 will give me 8. So 56 8 by 7%. But in a mixed fraction, the numerator cannot be more than denominator is what we have just now learnt. So you just cancel it further. 7 ones are 7, put that 1 here, that will become 57. Remainder I am keeping over there. 57 1 by 7. Like that you can learn up to 6 by 7. Next 1 by 8. 1 by 8 will be 12 and a half table or 12.50. 1 by 8 will be 12.50. 2 by 8 is nothing but 1 by 4. I don't need that because I have already learnt 1 by 4. 3 by 8 will be 3 times of that 12.50, which is nothing but 37.50% or 37.5%. Like that 5 by 8 and 7 by 8 also you can learn. For other fractions like for 1 by 9 and 1 by 11. So 1 by 9 and 1 by 11 are interesting. 1 by 9 will be 11th table. 1 by 9 will give you 11th table with the same fraction other side. Or 11, after 11 the same number will repeat here. 1 by 9 will give you 11th table. Say suppose you are coming across a percentage which is 11th table, you can simply memorize that it is 1 by 9 fraction or 1 by 9 are related to 1 by 9. Say suppose you have 44.44%, that is 11th table 4 times. That's why I can say that fraction is 4 by 9 because 1 by 9 is 11.11, 44.44 means that is 4 by 9. I can easily guess it that way. So 1 by 9 will give you 11th table. Similarly 1 by 11 will give you 9th table. So please remember that. That is a relation between 1 by 9 and 1 by 11. 1 by 10 is 10%. That's not a big deal. Coming to 1 by 11. 1 by 11 will give you 9th table with the same fraction here. Number wise if you take 9, same 9 will replicate over there. So if I take 2 by 11, that is double of 9. So 18 2 by 11 are 18.18. Like this, if at all you are coming across the values which are multiples of 9, that fraction is equivalent to 1 by 11. That's what we can say. Now let us move ahead further. So 1 by 11 I am continuing up to 10 by 11 dear. See, sir, how should I learn the fractions? If you are having some value here, you have to learn up to 1 less than that. Say suppose I am talking about 1 by 7, you have to learn up to 6 by 7. If I am talking about 1 by 11, you have to learn up to 10 by 11. So if you know 1 by 11 up to 10 by 11 you can manage. Please try to understand that. Don't blindly by heart with some logic. Chalo. Sir, I have learnt all these fractions, but in the exam I came across a situation where I have 5 by 4. What I should do there? So to convert this into percentage, 5 by 4 is nothing but 5 by 4. If you are trying to convert this into percentage, 5 by 4 you can treat it like this: 1 by 4 into 100. When you have something like this, you simply multiply. 1 into 100 will give you 100%, plus 1 by 4 into 100 is nothing but what? 25%. So together it is how much percent dear? 125%. So if at all the numerator is more than denominator, divide it. Then individually you take 100 into 1 will give you 100%, 100 into 1 by 4 will give you 25%. Together it will be how much percent? 125%. Like that we can manage. Now, what is 14 2 by 7% of 84? So the moment you see this, you can say that 14 2 by 7% is nothing but what fraction? 1 by 7. 1 by 7 of 84, which is nothing but how much dear? 12. So directly you can get the answer like this, provided you know the fractional equivalent of that percentage. Next, 83 1 by 3%. 83 1 by 3% means, see, if you remember, 1 by 6 is 16th table, 16 point something. 83 means that is nearer to 16th table only. 16 5s are 80. Now, So 1 by 6 is 16.66. 5 times of that will be 83.33. Hence I can say that 83 1 by 3 is nothing but which fraction? 5 by 6. 5 by 6 of 72 is what I am looking for, which is nothing but how much? 60. Next, 55.55%. Just now I told you, if you come across 11th table that is related to 1 by 9 fraction, 1 by 9 is 11.11. So 5 times of 11.11 is 55.55. Hence I can say that it is 5 by 9. So 5 by 9th of 63 is what I am looking for. If you go for cancellation, 9 7s are 7 5s are 35. Next, 109 1 by 11%. 109 1 by 11% I don't know, but I can think of it this way. 109 1 by 11% means I can think of it as 100% plus 9 1 by 11%. 9 1 by 11%. Then it will become easy. 100% is nothing but 1 time plus 9 1 by 11% is nothing but 1 by 11. Ninth table means that is 1 by 11 equivalent, I told you. So this will become equal to how much, dear? 12 by 11. 12 by 11. Hence I can say that that is equal to 12 by 11th of 12 by 11 of how much, dear? 165. Go for cancellation here. 11 15s 165. So 12 into 15 will give you how much, dear? 180. 180. So like this you can derive the fractions on your own. Next, 128 4 by 7%. We can think of it as what, dear? 100% plus 28 4 by 7%. 28 4 by 7%. So this is 14th table now. 14th table means that is related to 1 by 7. So 1 by 7 is 14 point something. 2 by 7 will be double of that. That's why it will be 28 point something. Hence 100% of the number is nothing but 1 plus 28 4 by 7% is nothing but fractional equivalent is 2 by 7. So this will be equal to how much, dear? 9 by 7. Hence our answer should be 9 by 7 times of 56. 9 by 7 times of 56. That will give you how much, dear? 72. Because 7 8s are 56. 8 9s are 72. Next, this is another most important property that you have to mandatorily master. The reason being, this simplifies many calculations. How, sir? Let us see with examples. So A% of B is always equal to B% of A. You just remember this. A% of B is always equal to B% of A. You can interchange the values here. A, B, you can interchange. That's what we mean by. So if you want 160% of 95, no doubt 160% of 95 can be found out like this. So 160% of 95 if you are willing to find, how do we get 160%? 100% plus 50% plus 10%. So 100% of that number is 95, 50% is half of that, 47.5, 10% is nothing but 1/10 of that is 9.5. So this will be slightly difficult. So instead, if you can think of it like this, if you can think of the same as 95% of 160, 95% of 160, it will be very, very easy. Why, sir? 95% is nothing but from 100% of the number remove 5%. 100% of this number is 160 only. 5% of that number is 8. That's why it will be how much? 152. Sir, when should I use this technique, sir? You should use this technique provided the right side figure percentage is easier than left side figure percentage. Finding 95% of a number is easier than 160% of a number. That's why I have converted that into this and I did the calculation, which is becoming more easier. Right? That's why whenever you want, you can convert the way, convert in this way. Depending on your choice. See, always have that common sense here. Say suppose you are already having 98% of 1650. Don't write it as 1650% of 98. Don't you think that is becoming difficult? 98% of 1650 is easier, right? You can simply remove 2% from the number, that will give you 98%. Right, let us see some more example, it will give you more clarity. Now have a look at it. What is 64% of 150? 64% of 150, it is easier to find 150% of 64. So I will convert it. So 150% of 64 is easy because 100% of that number is nothing but 64 only, plus 50% of that number is nothing but half of that, which is 32. 64 plus 32 is giving you how much, dear? 96. 96. Next, 78% of 125. It is easy to find 125% of a number. So I will convert this as 125% of 78. 125% is nothing but 100% plus 25%. 100% of the number is nothing but the number itself, plus 25%. How do we get? For half of 100% it will be 50%. Half of 50% it will be 25. So 100% of the number is 78. 50% will be half of this, which will be 39. 25% will be half of that, which will give you 19.5. If you have any difficulty in understanding that, I am writing it here for your convenience. 100% is 78, dear. 50% means half of that, which is nothing but 39. 25% means half of this, which is nothing but 19.5. That's what I did. 78 plus 19.5 will give you how much, dear? 97.5. 97.5. Is that clear? Let's see one more. 92% of 75. 92% of 75, we can think of it as 75% of 92. What is 75% of 92? 50% plus 25%. 50% of the number is nothing but 46. 25% will be half of this, hence it will be 23. Together it is how much, dear? 69. Is that clear? Next, 144% of 50. So this can easily be treated as what? 50% of 144, which is nothing but how much, dear? Straight away, that is 72. 72. Next, 60% of 1820. So 60% of 1820, don't write it as 1820% of 60. This is ridiculous. Even though A% of B is equal to B% of A, do you really think finding 18-20% of a number is easier for you? Not. So even though it is right, strategically we don't recommend. You better go only by 60% of 1820. This is what I want you to understand. When to use that logic, when not to use that. We have to use that, provided using that logic the calculation is becoming simpler. So here 60% of 1820 is already simple. Manage it straight away. How do you get 60%? 50% plus 10%. 50% of this is nothing but 910 plus 10% is nothing but 182. 50% means half, dear, right? Just took half. So 10% is nothing but 1/10. So 1/10 of 1820 is 182. So together that is giving me how much, dear? 1092. 1092. Hence your answer is 1092. Next, 14 2/7% of 980. So this is straight away 1/7. 1/7. 1/7 of 980, which is nothing but how much? 140. Right? As I know the value of that, straight away I am utilizing it. Let us see one more. 16 2/3% of 246. 16 2/3% is nothing but 1/6. This I have already taught. So 1/6 of 246. That will give you how much, dear? 41. Hence your answer is 41. So all these answers I am getting this quickly, not because I have by hearted, just because I know the fractional equivalent of the percentages. That's why by hearting is not the solution. Know each and every fraction and its equivalent percentage which are appearing in competitive examinations, so that the moment you see the fraction over there, without any fear, you can simply put the fractional equivalent of that. Is that clear? Chalo, next. 27% of 45.45. Now this is difficult for you to find 27% of 45.45, but we know 45.45 equivalent value in fraction. So I can write this as a% of b equal to b% of a concept I will use. I can write this as 45.45% of 27. I already told you this is which table, you check. This is which table over here? This is which table for us? 9th table? Yes or no? 9th table is this. So we know that 9th table means that is 1 by 11. 1 by 11 will give you how much, dear? 1 by 11 will give you 9.09%. This is what we know. So 5 times of this if you take, that will be 5 by 11. 5 by 11 will give you how much? 5 times of that, which is nothing but 45.45%. Hence I can say that 45.45% is nothing but 5 by 11. So that is 5 by 11 into 27 we can say. This will give you how much, dear? So if you go ahead here, 27 5s are 135. Answer will be in fractions only, because this 135 doesn't go with 11. 27 5s are 135. Again, when you are multiplying a number with 5, simply multiply it with 10 and take half of the number, like this. 27 into 5, 27 into 5, if you are trying to take, you take it as 27 into 10 and then take half of the result. So 27 into 10 is 270, half of 270 is 135. Like that I can easily get. Now going ahead with 11 12 132, 11 12 132, remainder is 3 by 11. So what is the answer here? 12 3 by 11. Is that clear? So please do not neglect these calculation ideas that I am giving, because these are the things that can change your fate. If you do not know these calculations here, when you go for advanced exams like SBI, PO, CAT or RBI exams and all, they will try to give this type of fractions percentages only. So when you are coming across this, if you are going ahead by using 27 by 100 into 45.45, believe me, you can never get the answer in that exam. That's the reason why knowing the right technique for every problem that you are coming across is very much needed. Now going ahead further, what is 27% of 45.45? Same question is being repeated here. Next, 72% of 55.55. So here again decimal you have, and you know 55.55% fractional equivalent, because this is 11th table, na? So 55.55% of 72 I can say, as this is 11th table, so that will be equal to 1 by 9. 1 by 9 will give you 11th table. This is what we know. So whatever I have, 55.55% is nothing but 5 times of 11th table. As it is 5 times here, it should also be what? 5 times only. Hence it is 5 by 9. That's how I can easily guess. So 5 by 9 into 72 is what I am looking for. Go for cancellation here. 9 8s are 72, 8 5s are 40. Hence your answer has to be what? 40. Is that clear? Please make a note of it. Next, 42% of 14 2 by 7. Finding 42% of a fraction is difficult, but finding 14 2 by 7% of 42 is easy, because we know the fractional equivalent of this one, which is nothing but 1 by 7 into 42, which should give you the answer as how much? 6. Are you getting the logic behind whatever I am teaching? Chalo, please make a note of it. Next, 96% of 16 2 by 3. So you can, even though it is 96%, which you can write it as 100% minus 4%, but handling this 16 2 by 3 is difficult. That's why convert it. 16 2 by 3% of 16 2 by 3% of 96 is what will give you the answer quickly. We know 16 2 by 3% is nothing but 1 by 6th. So 1 by 6th of 96 will give you how much, dear? 16. Hence your answer is 16. Right? So till here you first practice. Once you become a master in doing these calculations, then going for this type of calculations will become easy. The next type that I am going to show. So this is how you generally come across in exams. So 360 by 400 into 100, that will be how much percent? So you have to guess this number is what percent of this number. To do that, by the shortcuts I am going to teach, first you have to understand whatever are the calculation tricks that I have already taught. So please ensure that you are practicing the calculations till here, and ensure that you are learning that fraction to percentage, percentage to fraction values, so that in the next video I will continue with the further calculations. So it will take one more class for us to understand this percentage calculation tricks, because there is another type in percentage calculations. That is what I have already shown, something like this one. So this we will be learning in next video. Then I will take you to ratio calculation techniques also. After that we will move on to data interpretation part related exercises. Right? Thank you. Please practice well. We will meet again in the next video along with the next part of percentage calculations.